Joining me in our studio is Brady Nudelman, the CEO of hashmarx, and also the creator of the hashmarx Positional Index. Welcome to the studio, Brady.
Thanks for having me, Jane.
Let's dive right into the questions. What inspired you to create the hashmarx Index?
Well, I do a lot of the analytics at hashmarx, and what I needed was a frame of reference. Quarterbacks score different points than wide receivers and tight ends and kickers, so you can't compare them all the same. What you need to know is what are the expectations at each position.
So if you're trying to find an expectation at a position, why can't you just take an average?
Well, when you talk about averages, you got to talk about what is the player pool. If you talk about every single player at a position, you're going to end up with a number that's too low. You're going to include a lot of guys who just don't score any points, or they score 1 or 2 points. If you talk about just the top 10 performers of the previous week, you're going to end up with a number that's just too high. That's going to include players that had an amazing game, but these players are typically on benches or free agents, players that came out of nowhere. What you want is how many points did the typical starting player at each position get? That's what you need to compare your performance against.
That makes a lot of sense. So how would a person use the index to manage their team?
Well, if you're scoring below the index, you're probably scoring less than other people in your league at that position. If you're scoring above the index and you have a couple guys on your bench and they're all outscoring the index, then you might want to get rid of some of them. They're overperforming for you. So it's a way to help you set the expectations you need so you can properly manage your squad.
What surprised you the most when you took and analyzed the index and all the trends that go along with it?
Well, I've heard even last year, and since I've started fantasy over 10 years ago, the best advice is to take 2 running backs before you take any other position. But what we found when we did our research putting together the index is that running back is one of the most injury-prone position. Running back values decrease significantly throughout the year because of the injuries. Also, the running back position has been in somewhat of a decline over the last 10 years, even longer. So running back values are expected to probably go down a little bit even next year. If you're in a league and everyone in that league is still in that mindset of, I got to take 2 running backs, you might be an advantage to sort of have a different mindset and to think quarterback and tight end. These are positions who've had an increasing index over the last couple of years. Now, this doesn't mean take an average tight end before Adrian Peterson or a really good running back. It just means to think about it a little earlier than the other people in your draft who might be using sort of an outdated mindset. And the index helped expose that to me, that running back is a position where these injuries may not be freaks of nature. That may be this is a position that gets hurt, and some of the biggest busts typically come out of the running back position.
Been really good advice last year when I took Doug Martin and I had the chance to take Peyton Manning.
A lot of people probably had that situation.
Man, that's great advice. Thank you so much for coming in, Brady.
Thanks for having me, Jane.
Thanks for watching hashmarx Fantasy Update, and see you next time.